No, I have not gone crazy. And no, I have not changed my taste in video games overnight either. But yes, I am indeed doing a video on a pew pew shooter, a gun game, an aggressively militaristic title. This game is Sniper Contracts, and believe it or not, sniper games are ones that I do actually enjoy. There is something about using a sniper rifle which is oddly elegant, I've got to say. And while I do have my issues with military shooters as a general rule of thumb, and those issues, pretty much everybody who knows me knows what those issues are, for whatever reason I do find myself picking up sniper games fairly regularly and actually enjoying my time with them, even when they're not that highly regarded. This being a good example of a series like that, because the sniper series has never been that highly regarded, but I've always found something to enjoy about them. And as such, I actually didn't even hesitate before picking up this one to play. I just figured I'd find something to enjoy about it, and I do. But I'm doing this video because this one also kind of highlights some of the issues that I have with the general shooter genre and what I perceive to be a lack of creativity in how shooters are made and handled. So Sniper Contracts is a open world-ish stealth heavy shooter set in a fictionalized Russia, and specifically Siberia. In this fiction, Siberia is a breakaway state, and you play as a mercenary that is recruited by an organization to go into Siberia, kill particular targets, complete other objectives like collecting intel and rescuing certain people as well. And you do that, as I said, in a fairly open world way, so you can approach a various range of different missions, and there's all kinds of little sub missions as well, like you can challenge yourself to complete an area with only killing one particular mark and really relying on stealth and all that kind of stuff instead. But the point is that it's fairly nonsense. In fact, it is very nonsense. One of the first things that you're kind of introduced to is this suit that you're wearing, and this suit is super advanced technology that lets you fall from great heights and basically be Superman and recover and do all kinds of other things, and you have a permanent connection via radio waves with the organization that's hired you and all this kind of stuff. It is nonsense. But it's a fun kind of nonsense. I actually found myself kind of getting into this one. Sniper has always been a kind of B-tier series that a lot of people have had criticisms of, but I feel like a lot of the criticisms that people have had of the series has been more to do with the gameplay mechanics than the storytelling. The storytelling is fun, and it's not more than fun, and I'm certainly not suggesting that this game is a work of art like some of the other stuff that I've had the opportunity to play recently, but when you're coming off the likes of Death Stranding and Shenmue, actually a game like this is kind of a relief, because you can just check your brain at the door and just enjoy it for what it is. And I really did enjoy Sniper Contracts, and that is so weird for me to say this because everybody expects me to hate everything that involves shooting guns, but I do enjoy this one. Now, with that being said, there is a serious issue with this game, and that is that it is really constrained by the expectations of first-person shooters in 2019 going into 2020, and I'll explain that. But first I will say that it plays nicely. It has the kind of bugs that you expect from a B-tier effort at an A-tier game. It has bugs, it has quirks. Most of them will make you laugh. Occasionally there'll be one that'll frustrate you. But the gunplay feels good, particularly with the titular snipers, of course. All the effort went into making sure that the feel of using those sniper rifles felt really good. You have to adjust for wind and distance, and you have to mark your targets, you have to get yourself lying prone, you have to hold your breath, you have to go through that whole process that we all imagine the life of a sniper to be. And it is really satisfying when you actually manage to knock off some kind of general or something, a key target from a great distance, having scoped them out, carefully made sure that you've got an escape route, and then taken them out while their bodyguards have been around. unable to help. That feels good. And when you do it well, you get these nice little cutscenes. You saw at the start of the video that I've recorded, you get these nice little clips of the bullet actually leaving the gun barrel, crossing the vast distance and then taking the head off somebody. It's gory. It's certainly it's visceral, but it is enjoyable. It really hurts me to say that, because I don't like contextless violence. I don't like games that really kind of celebrate violence for the sake of violence, and this game certainly does that. But I guess everybody has a line where sometimes they're willing to go over it, and for whatever reason this series seems to be my line. The point is, it plays well. It does play well. I like playing this game, but the issue I have with it is that it is trying so hard to be a shooter for people who like shooters in 2019, and it's following the rulebook far too closely. The open world stuff in this game is largely unnecessary. In fact, it kind of hurts it. The best moments in Sniper Contracts is where you go to an area which has been carefully designed to be a challenge, and then you need to work your way through the challenge. It's usually some kind of building or complex or something, and there are guards patrolling around, and you need to make your way around and try to avoid being seen if you want to play the stealthy route, or figure out how you can take out all the enemies with the limited resources that you have to carry into the battle with, because you're always going to be outgunned. That's kind of the point of Sniper. You are always vulnerable compared to, I guess, the military shooter heroes that you get to play as in a Call of Duty game. So there's some thinking there, and those are the kind of best moments. The rest of it, when you're out in the wild, you might sometimes come across an enemy, but it's just dull, and it doesn't achieve anything. It doesn't add to the sense of the world. When you're out in the Siberian wilderness, you're out in the Siberian wilderness. You can convey that without asking the players to, traverse huge swaths of snowy landscape to get to their next destination. But the developers clearly felt like they had to put this in there, because that's what you have to do with shooters. If you're not going to be a Call of Duty hyperlinear kind of glorified light gun game, then you need to have that open world experience. And I'm pretty sure I've said this a couple of times on the video on my channel in the past. Open world games are tiring because they are just so... Most developers don't understand how to work with that open world. There are some that do, the likes of Sega with the Judgment series, Yakuza, now Judgment series, because those games really make sure that the world is there as for a reason, and that reason is to enhance the storytelling and to build the character, not just of the protagonist and the people that he's interacting with, but also the city itself as a character. I look at this one, Siberia is not a character. It's just this desolate landscape. It's an Ubisoft game where it's just there because it's size and scale, and that's meant to add something, but it doesn't. And they didn't need to do this. There are so many ways that you can do a sniper game in a way that it can be more linear in design. It can still be puzzle based in terms of figuring out how to, deal with the stealth, or deal with the overwhelming numbers of enemies. But the skill in this game is about executing that perfect sniper shot, and every time this game takes that focus away from that, the game's diluting its own appeal. I mean, this game's inability to really understand where its strengths lie come right at the start. At the very start of the game, you don't even have a sniper rifle. You're dropped into Siberia with a pistol, and there's a really weak narrative reason for that, but you need to go to some destination to pick up your equipment, which has apparently been dropped away from you for whatever reason, and you're only given a pistol, and you have to use that pistol to deal with some enemies. Either you can stealth past them, or you can figure out a way to shoot them down and before they shoot you. But why in a game which is about being a sniper do you need to spend this time establishing your character as a guy that uses other guns? And in general, every time I had to use a different gun in Sniper Contracts, I felt like I felt like the developers were missing the point about what was appealing about their game. The appeal is having the sniper rifle in your hands. It is not carrying yet another version of yet another realistic gun that we've seen in so many other military shooters. Especially when this game doesn't do that stuff as well as them. The sniping action is great. The gunplay itself is fine, but it doesn't take it to that next level. It's not that kind of Call of Duty visceral kickback, which, to Call of Duty's credit, it's not my kind of thing. It gets right every time. This game is definitely that B tier underneath Call of Duty. So why not focus on the one thing that this game has as an advantage, and that's the sniper rifles. Call of Duty doesn't do sniper rifles very well, and it doesn't do the kind of the sniper rifle experience of, you know, marking targets from a great distance and taking them out from that great distance. All of Call of Duty is that kind of small enclosed spaces with that immediate action where the enemy's just a couple of feet in front of you. This game tries to do that far too often, and it just lets itself down over and over and over again. The other question I have is the stealth stuff. I spent a lot of time while playing this game hiding from enemies and just waiting for their alert meter to run out. This clip in front of you, it's only about 15 minutes of uncut gameplay, and it shows you me basically doing that. It's an effective way of getting through the game, especially on the lower difficulty levels, and to be honest, I do play them on the lower difficulty levels because that's where the fun is for me. But it's a lot of waiting, and it's a lot of waiting where, again, I'm not carefully designing my strategy to get to my mark and take him out. It's that it's just wasted time. And I think that stealth is important to a sniper game, and I think that the developers really needed to have some kind of stealth system in there. But to me, the stealth should be more about getting in and kind of getting out of an area, making sure you can get to an ideal place, location to take the shot, and then get yourself back out again before the enemy can figure out where you came from, so you're a ghost as such. This game's stealth is more immediate. It's more about actually making your way past enemies, so you can get through to a laptop or whatever and get data, or you can get close to a suspect to interrogate them, all those kinds of things. And it's standard stealth stuff that we've seen since Metal Gear Solid and whatever, and it just doesn't work as well for this game because it's not what I wanted. I wanted that experience of being 800 meters away from a target and having to take them out. I didn't want to get within 100 meters of a target. I didn't want to have to go and find a laptop to hack. I just wanted to plan a route and take out my target and then use that strategy to get back out again. It should almost be like a strategy game and almost like a design game. But this one doesn't do that. So while it's a really enjoyable, fun experience, it can be more. And I think the reason it can be more is because the developers have done a lot of work in making their game look and feel like a AAA shooter. They haven't done a lot of work really understanding why a sniper game should be different to any other military shooter out there. And that is, well, that's disappointing. But again, I really have to say, I really enjoyed this game. I had a great time with it. I think it's a lot of fun. It's just not that kind of next level game it could have been. There is room for a shooter to be some kind of really majestic experience and something really important and something that actually pushes the industry forward and really makes them take note, rather than just a fun game that you play because you want to waste some time, having just played Death Stranding and Shenmue, which is how I ended up using it. If this game came out when I was busier and not just off the back of those kinds of big games, I would have found it too easy to just miss it because it's obviously nothing super special. Anyway, that's it for this little rant. Thank you for watching me actually play a shooter game. Now I can prove to people that I have. But yeah, thank you for watching. Please do back me on Patreon if you enjoy my videos, and I'll get to do more of them. Please do like and subscribe. And just as a quick note for people listening just as I upload this, for the next day or two, you can actually get the digitally downloaded DD visual novels much cheaper. I've got a big Black Friday sale going on, which I'll put in the links below. So thanks for watching, and we will see you at the next video.